very sorry for being late, Jay.
No, you're good.
We haven't spoken in ages, mate. How have you been?
How long has it been? How long has it been? Like 2 weeks now?
Yeah, week and a half or so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so we were off last week, mate. Well, because of me. It was crazy busy last week. So we're back now. With that, games aside, how's everything going?
Yeah, well, I'm currently off, so I'm sort of enjoying a little bit of a break at the minute. So that's where
How
I'm
long are
at.
you off till?
I'm off till Tuesday. I think I go back on Tuesday.
Okay.
So it's just sort of like a really long weekend at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Groovy.
Mm.
Well, I know you're probably bursting to talk about stuff because we've been off.
To a degree, yeah.
I was getting a bit worried about you because you didn't message me, and I was like, okay, either Jay's gone, just gone, or he's really involved in something.
Yeah, I'd say it was like the more the second one. Yeah.
Fair.
Focused, trying to get stuff done.
Fair.
To a degree.
All right. Well, shall we just crack on then? And
I always forget about these actually, so I'm glad you remember.
That's good. Okay, I have to write it down. Oh, stupidly easy one.
I'm liking this new angle, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I think I prefer it.
I'm not quite. Oh, I mess with it every week, mate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so in Captain Marvel, what?
Oh God, it's a bad start. Because I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to tell you this one. Go on.
I'll give you the two answers out of four.
Yeah, we'll see.
What project are S.H.I.E.L.D., NASA, and the United States Air Force
I already know
this,
I think. Isn't it the first Avenger project?
Project Pegasus.
Maybe not.
Oh, sorry. A, Project Pegasus, or B, Project Centaur or Tar.
I want to say Pegasus.
It is Pegasus.
Yeah, okay.
It is Pegasus.
Fair enough.
Well done. The question I skipped was, what does Captain America do when he travels back through time in Avengers Endgame? Like right at the very end.
Oh, that's massive spoilers. People haven't seen it.
Okay, spoilers for Endgame for the 5 people who haven't seen Endgame.
Yeah, that's
literally
true.
The biggest thing ever. But you're right.
He goes back and spends the life he was supposed to have with Peggy.
Correct.
Becomes an old man.
I'm not giving you that.
I feel like, that's just like, common basic knowledge. Yeah, common knowledge at this point. Definitely.
Oh, very good. So are you eager for the show, Jay? We should probably play some games together because I've just realised, Jay, neither of us I've just deleted that tab. That's good. Neither of us have we picked. Neither of us have got the main game we played last weekend as one of our topics.
We haven't, no, but I guess we can just talk about it in a small degree, can't we?
Yeah.
A little bit if we want to.
Yeah, we could
have to be that structured in that way.
Okay, well, do you want to talk about it now? Because
I'm guessing you're talking about Back 4 Blood, right?
Back 4 Blood.
Okay, yeah. So we both played it. Well, I played it day 1. You played it day 2 because you were playing D&D.
Correct, yeah.
So I had a day head start. So by the time you came on, I was explaining everything to you. I was like, right, it's how this works. Wait until you get so many cards and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's good because I was kind of finally back in the mood for a bit of a zombie type game, and it being on Game Pass, I don't think I would have bought this game had it not been on there. I think having played it, I don't think it's worth the price tag necessarily.
What is it, 50 or 60 quid, mate?
I think for the basic, I think it's like 60 or 65. Yeah.
Really?
I think so. I know the most expensive one is 100, and I'm like, Jesus, yeah, it's not worth.
Whoa.
But that does include all the DLC that's coming out in the next year or so. So.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm sure there's people who are getting really, really good at it as we speak.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, you summarised it. We played through it basically over a week.
Well, I
it
played through the campaign twice because I did it myself and I did it with you.
Okay, and then I played it once over the weekend or the week, Wednesday to Sunday basically. We worked together on getting some achievements and stuff. But is it fair to say, Jay, like we're both done with the game, quotation marks, like finished?
I mean, at the minute, yeah. I mean, you quickly realise how hard it is to get every achievement on that game. Especially seeing that you have to get achievements for doing the entire campaign on Nightmare, and doing it on normal is hard enough. So, or I should say easy, really, because it was easy, normal, and Nightmare, and just doing it on easy was a bit of a struggle sometimes. So
it was, it was.
I think a lot of that will get mitigated with getting better cards and unlocking more of the supply lines.
Yeah, definitely.
Supply lines being the sort of like battle pass type thing, but not really. Like it's sort of like an in-game mechanic where you have to, whenever you finish a mission, you get so many like reward points, depending on what you did, like challenges or whatever. And you can sort of unlock these like lines of cards or like I guess like skins for characters and stuff until you get eventually better and better ones that cost more and more points to spend. I actually got quite a lot. I probably went through like a good like 15 of those lines because they sort of like respawn once you've finished one.
Do you know how many there are?
I got some pretty good cards. I know. I must be pretty close to finishing it. Cause,
you think you got that?
Yeah, because when you go on the solo deck construction for the game, I think there's about 20 odd pages worth of cards. And I think I currently have maybe like 14 or 15 pages, maybe. So
okay.
I can't be that far. I mean, that's a lot still. That's still like I think there's 8 or 10 cards per page. So there's probably still like another 90 cards to go. Maybe I don't know. It's still quite a lot. So I have to see. I mean, I'll definitely. Well, I say definitely. I'll probably go back to it. Well, I don't know actually. Will I go back to it? I don't know. It was fun for a bit, I'm glad it was on Game Pass though, because at least we got to try it out. That's the main thing.
100%, dude. Like for me, this was a fantastic get to play with Jay over a weekend on a game he wants to play.
Basically,
cool. That's it. We got some Chivos.
It was a good experiment. It was almost like a social experiment or whatever. Yeah. Just to see. I think honestly, it kind of made me think about the quality of games at the minute, and how
it didn't live up to what your expectation
my
was,
imagination is so much better than anything that can ever possibly exist. Like genuinely, every time I play a game, watch a TV show, watch a movie, I'm like, wow, like my imagination just is so much greater than anything.
What did you imagine this game would be like? Genuinely,
I don't know.
Left 4 Dead 3? Or...
Yeah, I think I had probably a bit more. I don't know. Like maybe a bit more I guess it has a lot of replay value, but I don't know. I think I'm just sort of used to the sort of COD kind of thing where it's just like very like fantastical and there's a lot more to it, I guess. It's just felt a lot more basic than what I imagined. But I imagine it's because the game's wasn't made by a massive group of people, and so they needed to get it done in a certain amount of time. So they had to sort of simplify everything now. And I reckon over the next year or two, they'll probably add on to it. So by the time the game's like finished, it'll probably be, pretty good. Which I think is like the thing for most games nowadays, honestly.
Right, I think I brought up this point to you, didn't I?
Yeah, we speak about it a lot.
I saw a video, honestly. And there was a comment on YouTube. I think you said this before anyway, but there was a comment on YouTube which was like, I am so sick of hearing about reviews for games which are like, oh, it'll be great in a year's time. It's like, okay, so I've just got to wait for every game for a year to come out properly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you like this game slightly more than I did. I didn't think it was very polished. We definitely encountered bugs, but it was a good game.
Yeah, we more me than you encountered a bug where I picked up an item, but it wouldn't equip.
Right.
Like it equipped to me, but I couldn't like use it essentially. But it worked for you just fine. So, which I think is like not a well-known bug, but like a reasonably known bug. And I think that's the one thing I'm going to go back and check to see if it's like changed or not. That'll be like the one thing I go back to actually check to see. I hate it when achievements bug. I hate that so much. Such a pain. But there we are.
Man. That's BS. Yeah, so I think we got like 750 odd G, didn't we, on that? If you didn't get more than me.
Yeah, like 600 and something maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Something
Cool.
like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
look, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't, mate. There's not much we can do.
Yeah,
We
you're
do the
cracking
best we
right
can.
now, but we'll see.
Okay. How bad is the Kraken?
I don't know. Ask Jack Sparrow.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, I'm fucking on one, dude.
I was
That was
hoping you'd
good.
say something like that.
I think you might have to include that. That was too good. That just off straight off the dome.
Oh, mate,
That was intense.
I was just like, is he gonna take it? Is he gonna take it?
That was good stuff.
Okay. I've got 2 screens now, Jay, because I'm that posh.
Rich.
So I might sort of look at this while I'm speaking now. As you can see in the doc, I've got 2 games to talk about fairly briefly. One of them is Maneater, the shark game.
Sure.
Very much like Jaws Unleashed, the PS2 game that my brother owned. And the other is something else. So Maneater, Jay, you played it a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, like 6 or 8 hours, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
That's quite a lot for that game. Like, you're probably near the end.
No, I'm probably like maybe halfway, maybe.
What?
I didn't play.
Goldilocks speed.
No,
on
I
that?
didn't
What?
do too much of a Goldilocks on that one. That one was quite a slow
Okay.
kind of like. Not really. I wasn't really massively in the mood for playing it at the time. So.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy what you played?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like great. I wouldn't say necessarily.
Okay.
Like I think if that game had come out 7 to 4 years ago, I'd enjoy it a lot more. And I know that's a weird thing to say. That's like such a specific number, but I feel like I've sort of like my gaming brain has evolved to a degree. Like there's certain things that just don't interest me as much as they used to. I don't know why. That's almost like one of those things I'm gonna have to go back and check. You know.
Do you think
Just sort of see where I'm
it
at.
sounds like you would be interested in it if it came out sort of like in the sort of launch window
In the
of
Xbox One,
almost?
yeah, there we go. I think that's
Yeah.
more of what I'm alluding to. I think
I
my
totally
brain
get
has sort of
that.
shifted into the next generation of stuff. So I'm sort of like I'm sort of on a little different level. Like I'm on a different echelon, I guess you could say. I'm sort of. It's almost like being addicted. Like you know when you sort of like you get so much of that next level that you can't really go back anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can't, have less than what you're used to. So I guess I'm like that. I guess I've got it too good.
We've all got it too good.
All
mate.
my gaming choices and movie and TV choices and music choices are like they're a lot more filtered than they used to be.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, I wouldn't filter what I wanted to play as much as I do now because I didn't quite know exactly what I knew I enjoyed. Whereas now I have a bit more of an idea of what I know I'm going to like. So I tend to not go for stuff that is would have been likely back in the day, but not today.
Well, that does.
And I
relate to
didn't
my
even
second
know that
little
I knew
game,
that until
but-
like we just spoke about it. Like that was just all like straight off the top.
uncovering knowledge.
Yeah, you're
We'll
like my
talk about a little bit about
therapist.
that in my second game, to be fair. But Maneater, my experience with it, mate. Literally, my thing literally says I have to be extremely brutal about the types of games I play in this day and age. For one reason, time has become my most valuable commodity. So, literally, straight to what you're sort
I
of saying.
see.
Literally,
Yeah,
what
time
you're saying.
is
So,
a pretty valuable resource.
very valuable, the most valuable. Well,
I'd
one
say
might
yeah, more valuable than any other resource.
As a gamer gamers who actually have some sort of disposable income, I'd say time is the enemy now. So I think both of us have to be fairly picky about what we play, and we are fairly picky about what we play.
I'm
but
a lot
that's
more.
actually that's one of the reasons, Jay, why I actually loved Maneater. I found it to be a very simple, silly game which respects your time. Because it's not 60 hours. It's not Valhalla. It's not Odyssey.
I see.
It's not 55 million hours long. I was done with Maneater and its DLC. I think it's Truth Quest. In like, I want to say maximum 13 to 15 hours.
Okay.
Maximum. So that's a breath of fresh air compared to almost everything else I've played for the last 2 years. Almost apart from indie games.
Yeah.
I can't think of many games that are that long anymore. Control was 30 hours.
I'm trying to like think that whether you would change your mind based on how much time each day you have to play the game, right? Because if you work every day, you're probably only really going to get maybe 2 or 3 hours if you're lucky, right? So that's like if you're saying 15 hours, that's maybe 5 to 7 days. That's like a whole week of playing.
Hmm.
Whereas if you've got a whole weekend, or you've got days off or time off, or maybe you don't work as much as most people, you've probably got maybe 5 to 10 hours a day, which is that's only going to take you a day or two to finish a game like that. So it kind of just depends on, I think, how much time you have, like you say, during the day, and I think that then changes your opinion on whether these games are good enough or not. Because if you're someone who
Yeah,
has a lot of
definitely.
time, you're
Because
probably going to want something that's going to potentially last longer, maybe even an MMO or something.
yeah, definitely. Because like, I know that you experience games differently to me because sometimes you're able to sort of bash them out a bit more than
Yeah,
I am.
sure.
And like, so like you, I think you look more fondly on Odyssey than I do because you were able to do it in a more concise period of time.
Certainly do. Yeah, I'm in love with that game massively, or games like
So
that, I should say.
back on Maneater quickly.
Mm.
I wish, I don't know if you've heard, Jay, but the commentary on Maneater is like done by some famous guy, and I've heard it's like really funny, and I'm sure it is.
Do you know
But I
which
can
famous
tell
guy?
you, no, I don't, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I can tell you that it's funny because as soon as I started playing Maneater, I was like, oh, well, this is a perfect podcast game, and I just turned it
Oh, I
off,
see.
turned the sound
Okay.
off, and whacked on, something else,
That's actually
Critical
kind of
Role for like
true.
my whole
Yeah.
thing. And like that's literally all I did for it. It was just collectibles, finishing
Yeah.
missions, just being a shark, leveling up.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Maybe I'm not playing it while I'm doing something else, so it kind of feels a bit more of a slog. You know what I mean?
I
I feel like
definitely
if I
think
was
like,
playing it while I was into a podcast or some music or something, I might find it a bit more
dude,
enjoyable.
you could 100% whack a Twitch stream on your
That's
TV
true.
or on your laptop and play Maneater somewhere
Yeah, I
else.
feel like most of the games I play require me to be completely focused on what it is because it's usually quite story heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if you were playing Mass Effect, I don't think you'd want to
100%.
necessarily, or like The Witcher or something, you wouldn't want to have a podcast on. But yeah, something like Manny, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably where I'm going wrong. Definitely.
So yes, that's what I did, and I loved it. I loved its simplicity. It was very enjoyable. It's charming. I played through the DLC as I mentioned. I got every Chivo. Let's go.
Oh, you did play
Done.
through the
Sorted.
DLC. Okay.
I
What was
did.
that
I
called again? It was the
Truth Quest.
Truth Quest, right? Okay. And did you pay for that, or did you have to?
Well, Jay, funny you should
Because
ask.
yeah.
I got it through Microsoft Rewards, basically.
Okay, that's smart. Yeah,
So I
that's
saved
clever.
up.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Because it was one of those where I was like, I'm 100% happy to pay, with Microsoft Rewards, but I didn't want to pay a tenner for it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm saving my rewards for something really special. I might actually use it on Wonderlands.
You gonna have that many, you think?
Well, not for the whole thing, but towards it, yeah.
Oh, okay, sure,
You know, because it's
sure.
like I'm planning on getting the special
Yeah,
edition, so
me
might put
too.
some
Me
money
too.
towards it.
The only critique I have of it, Jay, there's some bounty hunters in it that are way too repetitive. You
Oh,
basically
okay.
have to grind killing humans over and over and over and over
Oh,
to
I
get
see.
to kill the highest bounty hunters.
Yeah, that's sort of like, I guess, a limitation of how it's set up, right, in the game design and whatever. Like, I'm trying to
100%,
think,
dude.
if they had more time, they probably would have thought of something you would have had to have done. A little bit like, this is a good comparison, like the bosses in Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Go
Do you
on.
remember you had to do different challenges to be able to make them see you as someone important? And
I
each time
believe
they were
so.
different. They usually weren't the same. Like one person who was like more involved in like just street racing, you'd have to do like 5 street races and win them all in a row to be able to make that person see you as important enough to want to race you. And then someone else was more like, I don't know, maybe more off road or maybe like more of a muscle car person, so you'd have to do everything in a muscle car, stuff like that. Like I feel like if there was some sort of thing like that in that, you'd probably feel a little bit more like you deserved being able to fight that person. Like it didn't feel like it would obviously still feel a bit like grindy, but maybe more like you deserved it. More like you put the effort in. bit more of a
Bit more
challenge
varied,
for the
kind
brain,
of.
a bit more varied, yeah, something like that.
Sure. What a throwback, dude.
I
What a
know. I
throwback.
didn't even know I had that in me, but there we are.
You loved Most Wanted, right?
I think Most Wanted is probably my favourite one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm trying to think. Carbon was also amazing.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fair.
I think I had a massive break between Carbon and some of the more recent ones. I think we spoke about this before, actually.
We have.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Next game from me. I'll be fairly quick. I was late today. It's the Destroy Humans remake. So
Yeah.
me and my brother have a lot of history with Destroy Humans.
You got me into that game. You and your brother did. So.
What? Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I remember watching you play it and me being like, "Oh, I want to play this now."
I think well, my brother got it. I think, and just like San Andreas, it was one of those games where I was like, "Al, I need to play this," and I just had to fight him every time just to try and play it, because it looked absurd, like an alien invasion game set in the 1950s where you literally play as an alien, zapping, anal probing, like, let's go. You know what I mean?
It's also like fairly
it too,
short, right? It's not like massively long.
Not massively long. Again, a breath of fresh air.
Like between 20 and 30, I think, or maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Like maybe even like 10 to 20.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a lot of history with Short Humans. I want to play it all the time. I found it funny, found it addictive, found it hard.
Yeah.
But we used tens of, if not hundreds of hours just playing in that sandbox, just messing around, testing the limitations of like how far can we take it, where like all the when's I'm sure I've told you this, Jay, but like when in this day and age are we like where's the map boundary, where's the sky?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Testing things out.
I remember doing that on Skyrim during the vampire and werewolf DLC. Because I remember I think the castle we had to go to was like right on the side of the map, and I remember being like, "Oh, I wonder where the side of the map is. I wonder if I can like go there." I can't remember what I did, but yeah.
Definitely, because it definitely looks like it is beyond the borders of the map, doesn't it? Because it's all fogged.
Yeah, it's all fogged out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Love that.
Well, I was pretty surprised, Jay, when they remade the first game, because I was like, they're not going to do both of them. But it worked out. Obviously,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I didn't think it did that well.
I guess it.
But
did.
It must have done because they wouldn't. There would be no reason to do it again, I guess.
Yeah, and I didn't fancy buying the remake, but when it came to Game Pass, Jay, I was like, 100%, I've got to try this out. You know, like it's just a no-brainer. So I played a couple of missions. I thought it was pretty good. Done a good job, not uber polished, but a good job, from a ground-up remake. And then uninstalled it. And then a few days later, I was like, you know what, actually, I did think I enjoyed it. So I reinstalled it and then finished it within a matter of days.
Okay, sweet.
That for me, Jay, is really a lesson in listening to my gut when my gut's like, this game's fun. Play this game.
No, if anything, I'm not completely opposite. I tend not to listen to my gut. If I do, I'm just like, it completely ruins me.
You think your gut's wrong?
No, I just think the saying is that your eyes are bigger than your stomach, kind of thing.
Right.
I tend to look at things as very tasty, game-wise. Like, oh, I'm going to enjoy consuming that game for my brain, and then I go to eat it, and I tend to get full within the first couple of bites.
What, you mean like a COD sort of thing, or?
No, just sort of like, not even like that I've had my full, but more of like, oh, I got bored of this quite quickly. Like the allure sort of like ran out quickly. Like it kind of, like what made me want to play it in the first place sort of like made me go, oh, I've had my fill of it already. Like I only needed like 10 minutes, Sometimes
Sure.
I think I need a lot more than what I actually need when it comes to like types of games. I guess the comparison I could make is zombies in Back 4 Blood. Like I only really needed about a week of that. I don't think I could have done. Whereas in my head, I thought I probably could have gone for longer. Same with any, other types of games.
Today, they think they can go for longer.
Yeah, sure, sure.
But no, I get you. I get you. Well, look, my gut was like, I think you're having fun playing this. So, saw some reviews, Jay, of this game that were basically like,
I want to
good
say it
remake,
was 7 or 8, wasn't it? Or was it worse than
something like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, good remake, but the PS2 game design is so outdated, right? And I played it and I was like, what are you talking about? It's linear missions. They're old. They're linear. Like, it's not like it was. I played through the whole game. I wasn't like jarred by the game design at all. Right?
I don't think you can expect to reinvent the wheel with a complete remake, right?
Oh, exactly.
I think they put a lot with what I said before about my imagination, like what I expect out of games now. I think a lot of people online, or just some gamers in general, are sort of expecting more of a Final Fantasy VII remake version of a remake, where they completely make it into like a much better game, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what you're going to get.
Thing.
I think a lot of the time, like especially with this new trilogy of the GTA series coming out, it's the same games. It's just they look slightly different, or they look upgraded in quotes.
Spoilers, Jay. Spoilers. We're coming on to it.
Are we?
We're coming on to it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we are. Read the doc.
I can't. I'm not allowed to shift over.
Well, yeah, you've done me there.
Yeah,
you've done me there.
I know.
The missions were linear, as I mentioned, but I found it nostalgic rather than frustrating.
I was going to say,
it was rare that I was like, oh, I can't handle this game design. And I actually haven't played the first game, Jay, and genuinely probably like
well over a decade. Yeah,
years.
Well
yeah,
over.
Exactly.
It would have been before the year 2010.
It was interesting to see what had changed, what I remembered. Overall, I would say the humor actually stands up fairly well.
Yeah.
And I had a fabulous time with it. Like I say, again, breath of fresh air, done it in a week or two. Not a week or two, like a week. Some of it was kind of creepy, Jay. I don't know if you've seen, but the human models in the game look a bit weird, a bit too cartoony. Although they are representative of the original game, they do look a bit cartoony.
I was going to say that's fairly on purpose, isn't it? Because they did a similar thing in the GTA that's coming up, but they sort of made it look slightly cartoony.
Right.
Just because of how the graphics looked initially, like for them to be able to make that game look more like a more modern game, they'd have to completely change the models, and that would take way too long, too much money, too much time. Yeah.
100%. Nostalgia can make you blind, Jay. Or
there's a lot that can make you blind. Like the IP of the game can make you blind.
That's true. Nostalgia can remind you of a great PS2 game, and that's what this game did.
If anything, I think I'd probably just want to go back and play the original.
You don't. Trust me, you don't.
You know what I mean, though. Like, there's so many games where you're like, oh, they're doing a remake of that. I'll go back and replay the old one. I'll just go do that.
No, it genuinely is a way improved version.
Okay, good.
Way improved. That's it from me, mate. Quick interlude. Jay, you got some news on Wonderlands. By the way, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I don't know how much I want to say because I'm not sure how much you want to know.
Oh no!
Like, would you rather stay in the dark about things? Because this is actually something that I needed to bring up just quickly. Part of like the Goldilocks secret, I guess you could say, is that
the mythology of the Goldilocks.
No, seriously, like the reason why I can get games done so efficiently, I guess, or like in a certain amount of time, is because I probably spend, like days of hours of time researching the game before I play it, if I know I'm going to enjoy it. So a lot of the time, by the time I even start playing the game, I already know how to beat most of the game. So like spoilers doesn't really affect me as much depending on what it is, right? Like there's obviously only so much you can know, but some games that come out can have guides for them that are completely done by the time the game comes out. So I sort of have to read through them to make sure I don't miss anything if I know I want to enjoy that game a certain way. And that way being, me trying to 100% it, I guess, right? Or just try to get the most out of it. And that's kind of like what I did with a lot of stuff. Actually, I'll talk about that a bit more in the future. But that's kind of like where I'm at with my notes for Wonderlands, is that knowing so much about it now sort of gives me a bit of a bit more of a head start when it comes to actually playing it. And I imagine that's probably what, I don't know, are you the kind of person who would want a bit of a head start, or would you rather go completely blind and figure it all out by yourself when you get there? Would you would you rather make mistakes and learn the hard way, or not?
Do you want the 30-second answer, ideally?
Yeah, quickly.
Okay. Oh, all right. Sorry, Jay.
Well, you know what I
Didn't rush me
mean.
in a
Just like
rush.
whatever. Yeah.
Well, okay. Short answer, no. But quicker,
No
slightly
what?
longer answer. Like no, like I'd rather. I don't mind. Like I'd probably just go in the dark.
Okay.
But
So you'd
longer
rather make
answer.
mistakes and learn later on.
Longer answer. I used to be like, research everything before a game came out, and
I'd
like,
sort of research an amount. Like there's so up to sort of riding the line between knowing a lot about the game and spoilers. Like, I'd rather not know the spoiler stuff, but know more of the mechanics of the game. So at least that way I can like not have to worry about making a mistake somewhere.
yeah, I actually think, Jay, I might do what you're doing because I don't want to have to go in the game
It's
and be
time
like,
management,
what does
my guy.
this do?
I thought you
What does
cared
that
about
do?
time. Clearly not, because you're not doing enough research.
I'm saying I think I might
Yeah,
do
you
more
might.
research.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you want to manage your time better, it might be worth it. Although then again, you are obviously having to waste time, in quotes, waste time researching.
Right, looking it up. Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
the
So
only
it's
thing
kind
is,
of like
Jay,
a bit of a double
I'm getting a
entendre,
bit
if that's the
I'm
right
getting
word.
a bit
No, it
I'm
isn't.
getting a bit sick of like going in a game and getting overwhelmed with all the
Catch
mechanics, you know what I
22?
mean?
Is that what I mean? I think I mean catch 22. But yes, go on.
That was it. That was the point.
Sure. Are you ready for my notes?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
Wonderlands, I'm getting really hyped about it, and it's not coming out till March. Like, I got a long time. I got like 5 months.
You can't
Yeah,
play
I
it
got like
alone.
5 months until the gameplay
Yeah.
comes out, but I'm already excited about it. Right, so they showed off 2 classes out of what I imagine to be 4 classes.
Okay.
I would hope, because there's
Because
always been
Borderlands has
4.
4.
Well, they could surprise us, and because we know they weren't going to introduce new characters for 3, but we don't know if they're going to introduce new ones for this one. Whether they're going to stick to the 4 or they're going to add more later, we don't know. So
Well,
we'll see.
Borderlands 2 had like a billion in it.
It had 8, I think, in the end.
That's quite a lot.
And then the pre-sequel had, I think, 6 or 7
It's quite a
in
lot.
the end. Yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wonderlands. I think you're actually going to like it more now because of what I'm about to say. But so the game is basically a D&D game.
Yes.
I don't know how much you know. So in the same way it's like a D&D game, it sort of has like an overworld where you like move characters around in like a sort of like a sandboxy type thing, but not in like steps like you would do like a character, like on a D&D board. Similar, but they actually can free move. But the characters have sort of like oversized heads, so you can see what character it is. But it's sort of like a really cartoony version of what the world looks like.
Okay.
And they're calling that the overworld. The sort of the world you have to traverse around to be able to. I think it's almost like a fast travel system, but not really, from what I can garner. It's almost like a thing. So I'll go more into it. You sort of like when you move around the world, when you're sort of in the Borderlands proper in the game, when it's like the actual like areas, you can like move things over to be able to make shortcuts when you move around the overworld. If that makes sense. So like, say there's like I think what they said was there's bottle caps was like the thing. So there's like a giant bottle cap that if you move over, you can then use that as a shortcut. A little bit like Cuphead, in the way that the world would sort of have like shortcuts you could do once you like unlock certain areas. Like a similar type thing they're going to be doing in Wonderlands. It looks like
basically like a Dark Souls. Like you get like so far.
Yes, exactly. So when you backtrack, you can come back a different way, and it'll be quicker. Essentially, like a similar type thing. But I think it's only in the overworld. I don't know if it affects you much in the like in world. I guess. Okay, where do I start? We'll start with the Berserker. Have you heard of this?
The what? Sorry.
Berserker. Like cold, like Oh,
okay, yeah.
But it's like berserker, like a berserker. So it's sort of like a weirdly like an AC character, because it's like a Viking woman, giant Viking woman with a giant axe that she spins around with. So that's the first class. So I think this is supposed to be our melee class. It seems, because there always seems to be one melee orientated one, isn't there? But I feel like melee is going to be a bit more of a thing in this because they actually have melee weapons now.
Interesting.
But you can use them alongside guns as well. So you can have guns equipped, all 4 guns, that you do on a rotation. But when you do your melee attack, whatever melee weapon you have equipped, that'll do one attack of that, and it'll So what they've done is they've sort of like added like debuffs, I guess. So whenever you whack an enemy with a melee weapon, either if you kill them or hit them, they then get like debuffed, or like you get buffed essentially for a little time. So that's a cool little feature. They've added like surprisingly a lot amount of stuff. Second character is the Stabomancer.
Okay.
So can you have a guess at what that one might be about?
Well, it sounds like the melee class, but it sounds
exactly,
like they're gonna be...
which is kind of confusing me because so this one is like a stealthy rogue class. Like this is basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to go for like the classic D&D classes, right? So you've got your sort of barbarian, which is your berserker,
almost.
sort of tank melee class, right? And then you've got your rogue class, which is the Stabomancer, which is sort of like a mixture between stealthy and like AoE sort of mage type stuff. Like they've got sort of spells still that do like melee stuff with them. So that one looks quite cool. But that one made me think of, what they're also including along with melee weapons is spells. So you could, much like a mage or anything in D&D, like a magic caster, you can now equip spells that are lootable and have rarities, which I think maybe the melee weapons will do as well. So you can literally like swap. You can have a build with different melee or different spells on it that also gives you buffs, or like team buffs, or like debuffs for the enemy, stuff like that, right? Or like makes cooldowns quicker and stuff like that. You know.
I feel like
it's kind of insane what they're doing.
That's gonna seem like an obvious addition to a Borderlands game.
Yeah, but like a D&D styly thing, right? It kind of makes it the flavor of everything is starting to like come around now.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just making my imagination is like kicking off right now. You know.
What is it
a lot
about
of speculation?
You played all the Borderlands DLCs with me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's making you? You're obviously not Borderlands out. So what's making?
Oh no, I am Borderlands out massively.
Okay.
I don't think I can go back and play Borderlands 3 for a long time.
No, sure, but this is
same thing, but it's different.
This is
if Borderlands 3 had released a new character by now, I'd probably have played that.
Okay.
I think for me, again, it's the variety. I need a little bit more variety sometimes. It gets a bit once you've put like I had to grind a lot for all the legendary stuff on Borderlands 3. You got to think, right? I did full campaigns with all 4 characters. I got builds for 3 out of the 4 characters, like full max level legendary builds I completed. Like I'd beat every boss with 3 out of the 4 characters. Like I'd done a lot on that game. I'd pretty much finished it, to a degree. But I'd done a lot, so I sort of like needed something a bit fresher. And I think me looking forward to this Wonderlands thing, new characters, new things to explore, new things to figure out. It just kind of makes me excited about. Like you get that feeling of starting again. Like Pokemon is another one of those things where I love just starting the game. Like the first 2 or 3 hours of a Pokemon game are like my favorite part of the Pokemon game. That and then like the last couple of hours when you're doing all the Elite Four stuff. Everything in the middle just seems a bit of a slog sometimes. A bit of a grind. And that's kind of how I am with a lot of stuff.
You could say that with a lot of games.
Exactly. That's kind of how most things are.
Yeah.
That's just life, really, isn't it?
There's something about that fresh start. It's very addicting.
Exactly, and I think that's where I'm at with Wonderlands right now. I'm sort of just looking forward to the fresh start again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much.
Info on that,
yeah. Okay. So one last thing, there was 2 things. So in the overworld, you can come across, like again in Pokemon, like encounters, I guess. So you sort of like come to a place where you can choose to either fight or flee certain like groups of enemies. And then that will sort of like, I guess if you're like grinding for certain weapons, you can then go and fight those enemies. And if you're not really fussed about needing to fight anything, you can just choose to run away, which I guess you can already do in Borderlands, but this is like maybe a slightly different way that they're going to do it. Not really sure yet. There's not enough information.
Is that, sorry, was that for grinding for leveling or to get better weapons, or?
I mean, that's just in general.
Oh, okay.
This isn't like, like deliberately going to do that. This is like, I think how enemy encounters are going to work when you're sort of moving around the board, as it were, the overworld board. Like there'll be like an enemy encounter that will allow you to do a D&D style choice,
Wow, this is really different. This is more different than I expected.
Exactly, but this is a lot of what I'm saying is like it's almost like speculation upon some truth.
So
We don't have
sure.
like if I had to read the blog word for word, you'd understand exactly what I'm talking about. But there's some speculation there. And then the last thing is there's collectibles now that actually give you bonuses. So if you collect certain collectibles, they give you passives. Like you know how in Borderlands 2 and 3, I think you had the thing where if you got enough, I think tokens, you had like a token that made so you could upgrade a random of 3 choices, right? You had like the offensive stuff, the defensive stuff, and then like the sort of utility stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
kind of system, but with collectibles. So whenever you get a collectible, you get like a passive, so like a plus 5% melee
Right.
damage or whatever it might be, you know. But depending on the
That's
collectible,
awesome.
it'll be a different passive each time, hopefully, or maybe like a stackable one. Like if you get like if you find like a melee weapon, it'll give you all melee weapon damage, or like stuff to do with that.
That is
So I
awesome.
think that's about where we're at. So when I get more information, I'll update the podcast. But yeah,
Okay, cool.
that's
I
like a
mean,
very
Borderlands 1 and
summed
2,
version of all that.
I think had some sort of collectible because they had vault symbols and locations
Yeah,
and
they had that in
stuff.
3 as well. Yeah,
They had that in 3.
yeah, they
I
had that in 3.
didn't give a. I just didn't
I think they're going to try and
care.
make it a bit more prevalent in Wonderlands. It'll feel a lot more
Yeah,
like you need, like not necessarily that you need to, but it'd be
a
beneficial
bit
if you
more
did. You know,
substantial.
you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
actually get
yeah,
rewarded for it, and you'll see the
yeah.
difference, kind of thing.
Well, there was loads of. I never did them in 1 and 2, but 3 we had like the Iridian things and logs and stuff, which I did because it's like they're on the checklist
Uh huh.
kind of thing. But I never really got much of that checklist vibe from the first 2. But anyway, yeah, no, that's a good overview. I'm excited to hear more about that game.
I just want to see what the next 2 classes are going to be. That's all I really care about right now. I just want to know there's going to be like something cool, man. The cooler the class, the better. Because I feel like when I've looked at these 2 classes, I don't really feel like connected to the character. I think that's what's one of the things that's kept me in Borderlands is like I actually feel a lot for certain characters. Like whenever they've brought back characters in 2 and 3 from 1 and 2, it sort of made me go, oh, I care about what's going to happen next, you know? Because I might have played that character. Like Mordecai is like one of my favorite characters. Like
Yeah.
I'm very invested in his story. So I kind of want a similar thing in Wonderlands. I want to be able to feel invested about these characters, you know. So hopefully they've actually got some
100%.
sort of good personality to them. If they haven't, I'm going to be bummed.
I think 3 has arguably more personable Vault Hunters than Borderlands 2. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I have to remember them now, but yeah, I'd say so
Amara,
probably.
Flak, Zane, and the gun lady, the robot lady.
Yeah, I can't actually remember her name, but that's the one I use all the time. Yeah, I haven't played it in so long, I've totally forgot. But
Dear.
yes, her.
I think now would be a good time for you to go into your topic, Jay.
Okay, that was Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been playing a game. I had a bit of a break when we played Back for Blood,
Mm-hmm.
which I was a bit actually probably part of the reason why I wasn't maybe as excited about playing Back for Blood as when I should have been, because I'd just gotten into Final Fantasy 14. So I've been playing that, yeah. And I think you've been playing it, right, a little bit too.
Little bit, just a little bit.
I actually kind of want to know where you're at.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I want to know what you've done. Like even if how little, however little or far you've gotten. I'm actually curious because
I
it'll sort
think
of
I'm
weigh up
level
against.
11 or 12.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I actually thought you were going to say either a lot higher than that or a lot lower than that.
Okay.
I was hoping you were going to say somewhere between 10 and 15, but I had a feeling you'd say like level 3 or like level 25,
Right.
but I wasn't sure what you were going to say. That's not too
Yeah,
bad. You
no.
definitely like haven't got into like a lot of it, but that's still fine. Like I'm guessing you have had like a fairly good time on it.
Yeah, man.
But you've
Yeah,
obviously been busy
like,
with other
yeah.
stuff, so I'm not really sure where you're at with it.
Well, it's your topic, so I don't want to hijack it.
That's
But
fine. I'm
I'm
just
kind
curious.
of
We'll bounce
dabbling
off it.
into. I'm kind of dabbling into WoW as well, so I'm trying to make up my
Oh,
mind
about which one you want to
whether.
put more time into? Time management. That's what we're
Yeah.
about.
Well, apparently Final Fantasy 14 has basically become the biggest MMO now.
Yeah,
So
I think there's
I
currently
feel.
more players on Final Fantasy 14 than there is on WoW. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I should play it while it's in the You
I mean,
know,
it's actually been out a lot longer than I thought. I think it's almost been 10 years since 14 came out.
even A Realm Reborn or the original 14.
Just the original.
Got ya.
Yeah,
That
because
sounds
it
about
obviously
right.
came out a couple years after 13, and 13 came out in 2009.
9? Yeah, that
So
sounds right.
I think this
Yeah.
actually came out in like it's either 2012 or 2011. So I think it's been about 10 years. Which
Wow.
is I only thought it was 6 years old, but I think it came on console 6 years ago. I think that's where I'm getting confused.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
So
I'm
yeah. So have you? Do you want me to? Sorry. Do you want me to inquisit into your
sure.
time? Okay.
Sure.
I know you like being asked questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much have you played so far, hours
I
wise? Do you
don't know
know?
if I can give you in hours because I don't think the game actually tells you. I might have to look into that, but I can give you a level.
Let's have the level.
I'm currently level 35 or 36. I want to say
Oh my god. Out of 60, is it?
out of 80.
Is it 60 up to free or
Yeah, so
80
60
free?
is free, but 80 is if you get, you buy it and you pay subscription to play it, basically.
Are you able to do all of the expansions in level
No,
60?
you're only able to do the first 2 or 3, I want to say. I think
Not
it's 2. I think
Shadowbreakers or
it's
whatever
2.
it is.
Shadowbringers, I think, is one of the more recent ones.
Shadowbringers. Okay. Got ya.
So yeah, I'm
So,
kind of happy with where it's at, but there's definitely a lot of things you can't do because I'm not paying to play it.
such
I
as.
don't know the full breadth, but what I do know is you can't have a mount,
That is so annoying.
or at least you can't have like a decent one. You actually get given a chocobo around level 20.
Oh, spoiler. Is it good?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's made the game really a lot quicker. Thing is, I didn't get it until I was level 33
Right.
because I made the mistake of doing too many side quests and not doing enough of the main quest. So if I'd just done the main quest, I would have had my chocobo like 20 hours ago.
Isn't that game design, though? Isn't it their fault for doing that?
I don't know. I think it's like a good mixture of mine and theirs, I guess.
Okay.
I think
So, what
had
other
I
stuff?
played the game as it was coming out, like all the DLCs, it would have been different. Like I
Yeah.
would have had to have followed the main story a bit more. But because there's a lot more to do, side quest wise, I just sort of did all that first.
Well, I've got the same problem because I'm doing all the side quests I can until I. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of helped because I kind of like over leveled, so all the main story stuff I'm
Yeah.
doing now is just like super easy, so I can just breeze through it. Like I think I did like 20 side main story missions in like 10 hours or so, maybe. Like I just sort of like went through them because I got to the point where this is like the thing I was looking forward to. So one of the things you can do in Final Fantasy 14 is you start out as like a certain class, but classes can sort of evolve like Pokemon, I guess. That you can sort of transition or like evolve into the next version of your class. So I initially started out as a conjurer, which is like a healer class, which I think is the only healer class. And I can either choose to become white mage or an astrologian, I think. Astrologian you couldn't actually become until like the later DLCs came out. So initially you would have only have had to have chosen conjurer into white mage, and that was it. But I'm currently a white mage because I've evolved. Once you hit level 30, you sort of like have to do certain missions to then become a white mage. So you basically just get access to more spells. Like the one thing I will say is that the spells that you currently have that you're currently using, you're going to be using until at least level 30, 35. Like you're not going to get much of a deviation. Like it's very boring. It's very grindy. I'd say the game, like much like Destiny, the game doesn't really start until the end game. I don't think. Until
Hmm.
you've hit like level 60, between 60 and 80, you're not really playing the game properly. You're just sort of grinding to get to the end, essentially. That's like but you're kind
Sure.
of like playing it to understand the game, so that once you get to the end, you know what you're doing, really. Which I don't mind actually. I quite like that. I'm not a fan of it. I'm enjoying it so far, but yeah.
These games, Jay, where I think WoW's the same, where
I
a
know they're
lot
all
of
the
the game
same.
is found in the end game.
Yeah.
Does the game are these games you think smart, telling you when you get to the end game what you need to do to play the game, if that
A
makes
lot
sense?
of
Because
them don't
Destiny
tell
2
you.
doesn't. Sorry.
A lot of them don't tell you. They just sort of like I think you
No.
usually just figure it out because you've been playing it for so long. You'll sort of
Right.
know what to do next.
Right.
A lot of the time, the end game is just grinding raids to get all the best gear. That's pretty much what most end games are, which I think is what
Yes.
WoW is. It's what Final Fantasy is. It's what
Destiny.
Destiny is. So that's kind of what I'm looking to. But what I will say is, I think I'm actually playing the game for the journey and not for the end.
Oh.
Because I know the end game is going to be very difficult, and it's probably too difficult for me. So I'm not actually too fussed about when I get to the end. I'm just more fussed about playing through it at the minute.
Are you enjoying the story?
I'm actually skipping a lot of it. I'm not too fussed, honestly. I'd say for the first, I've probably played the game roughly 35 hours, like I say an hour a level roughly. So I'd probably say for the first like 15 levels, I was pretty invested in the story. Like I watched all the story for the first main part of the game. But because I've completed the first main part, I'm now in the DLC. Technically, I think I'm like Realm Reborn. I think. Actually, I might not be. I don't know. I'm not really sure where I'm at, but at least for the first I think the game's like cut into chapters, but each chapter has like episodes. So I think I'm currently on chapter like 3, episode 2 or something. So for the first 2 chapters, I was pretty invested, but for the last chapter, I'm not really too fast. I can sort of like figure out what's going on just based on what I'm doing, but I'm not really like reading every single bit of dialogue, you know.
Sure.
Like, I think the story is definitely very Final Fantasy, but I care more about the music. Honestly, the music is fantastic in this game.
Dude, the
Final
the
Fantasy,
idea of
they just know what they're doing over there, you know.
yeah, they do. They do. The idea of like, playing an MMO in the Final Fantasy universe. Now that I've played through quite a few Final Fantasies recently, it does make a lot of sense, right? It's like more of that.
I'm honestly
like not as concentrated, not as story focused. Obviously, it's an
yeah.
MMO, but more of that.
I'm honestly kind of disappointed to a degree. Like I was kind of hoping it'd be more RPG. Like it is an MMORPG, but it's more MMO than it is RPG. Like it doesn't feel very Final Fantasy to me in terms of its what's the way it plays out, I guess. Like I think I much prefer a linear Final Fantasy RPG than I do an MMO version.
Oh, me too, definitely. No
I
doubt
think
about
it's
it.
definitely not. I think if I was a WoW player and had been for the last 10, 20 years, I'd probably enjoy this game a lot more. But that's just not me, I don't think. I'll
Again,
play it,
Jay.
but not for the same reasons that a lot of other people will.
So, are you pretty into it right now? Is that what you're playing
I'm not
most days?
playing at the minute. No, I've stopped playing to play something else.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Yes, I have.
By the way, we won't spoil next week's show because I know what game you're talking about. But I'm going to tell the audience now.
I mean, if the first like 10 minutes of this podcast is anything to go by, they can guess.
I'm going to tell the audience now. I am going to be really hard on Jay next week with the game he's playing. So nobody be scared.
By next week, I should have it completely 100%ed. I'm hoping.
Well, I'm going to be I'm going to be really hard on you, Jay.
Good.
But
I want you to be. That's what I'm hoping. You know.
So like I'm trying to gauge how much you're enjoying this game. Then like I think you are enjoying it, but you're not loving.
Honestly,
Final Fantasy 14. That is.
It's one of those things that I can just jump in and out of and not really be too fussed about where I'm at with it. I'm just honestly my first goal was to get to level 30 and to just evolve into White Mage. That was like my main thing. I wanted to see what the difference was. You know how much of a difference it would be spell wise and stuff like that, and what I had to look forward to. And it definitely answered a lot of those questions. Like I could definitely play it until level 60. But I'm very tempted to, once I get to level 60, potentially get a subscription and go try to get to level 80. We'll see where we go. It's one of those things I'll just jump back into every so often. Like when I'm not playing something else, I'll play that for a bit, and in the meantime, just sort of it's a bridge between game for me.
I think I'm the same, mate. I totally see it as a really accessible, slightly diluted game experience. You can just jump into it.
I'm sort of playing it very casually.
Yes.
Like there's a lot I'm missing on purpose because if I had to get into it, it would take too much of my brain power for me to want to do it. So I'm just not. I'm not going to bother. If I'd have to completely surrender to the MMO gods for me to want to care about any of that kind of stuff. Like I'll get around to it. I'm doing like 80% of what I should be doing. The 20% that I'm not is just fairly trivial anyway, and I probably shouldn't have to worry about it until I get to the end of the game, really. So, and there's probably some stuff I can't do that I don't even know about. I haven't really looked. I'm just sort of, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just going towards it. That's all I care about. Just get to level 60 and just get there.
I see FF14 as a sort of highest quality game for the amount of hours you're going to get out of it. You can easily get 200-300 hours out of that game, even on the free account. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find another even if it's an MMO, another game like that which has that sort of accessibility. With that
I think even if you're not an avid gamer, you could probably still enjoy it, but you'd find it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
In some aspects, yeah. I think even if you're just like a Final Fantasy player and you haven't played anything MMO before, you'd probably still enjoy it. Just for, like I said before, an IP can make you blind to a lot of stuff. And I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that. Actually, there's literally nothing wrong with the game. I don't think. I have to think about it.
How are you playing an MMO on console?
Actually, kind of nice. Yeah, I think the way they've got everything laid out is quite nice. I will say, the first couple hours you're going to struggle navigating the controller and how it works, because it should be a PC. Like obviously it's designed for PC, right? So it's a lot easier for PC. Like there's a lot more buttons to press. With a controller, there's a lot of like hotkeying and having to figure out certain things and making sure that your mind and muscle memory can get it all down properly. So I'm sort of at the point now where I don't even need to look at the screen in certain areas or the controller in certain areas, because I just sort of know what's already hotkeyed and what's in places and stuff, hotbar and everything. So yeah, I'm at a good spot with it. I'd say. I mean, you probably found it a little bit difficult to start with now.
I did.
Yeah, like having to I think a lot of it is just like hand muscle memory. Just once you've got that down, it becomes a lot more enjoyable.
Do you scroll like we using the touchpad? Or you
No,
just press?
I do have to use the touchpad sometimes. More just to get to cancel. You primarily use the touchpad. You press it to be able to come up to a window, to be able to come off of the window. Like if you press it and then press circle, you just instantly cancel out the window. Whereas other times you can just use it to like touch it and do that, but it takes a lot longer to do that. So
yeah. How much do you know, Jay, about? I find the map very confusing.
I don't. I've played the game long enough now where I can completely use the map and not have to worry about trying to figure out. I've spent like literally like an hour and a half, or just solely on the map trying to make sure I can figure it out.
Okay.
It didn't take me too long, like an hour and a half spread over the course of like 30 plus hours,
Well, look, I'm trying to view the world map, and I think I saw it once, but I'm not actually sure how many areas are in each area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's the bit that once you've played it for long enough, you'll just sort of understand it. Like I'm at the point now where I know where certain parts of the map are without actually having to look at the map.
Right.
Like you'll just know, much like Borderlands. Like the Borderlands has so many different areas.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there'll be a part where you'll just sort of know where to go. You just got to play it for long. Like I mean, it's one of those games that you're gonna spend hundreds of hours in. So you're gonna just know where stuff is. Like you're even gonna know where certain vendors are. You're not even gonna have to worry about it. You're gonna know where certain mission givers are, NPCs. There's so many things. You're just gonna know eventually, much like WoW and all that. You're just gonna know. Destiny.
Are you playing podcasts and stuff in the background of this, or not?
No,
really?
weirdly, actually, what am I doing? Actually, yeah, I'm watching Twitch, or I'm watching podcasts like YouTube podcasts or video podcasts, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily, I actually watch a lot of like Twitch VODs, so like streams that have been recorded, and I just watch like the whole 3 or 4 or 7 or 8 hours of it. So yeah, it sort of gets rid of a lot of the time, I'd say. But I'm playing. What I have played of Final Fantasy has sort of been in like 2 to 3 hour increments because I've been playing it while I've been at work. So, or playing it while I've been working. Like come home, work, come home, play, work, come home, play. Not at work playing it. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really am. It's but yeah, it'll be one of those things I'll sort of like constantly talk about, sort of like little bits, little crumbs here and there. Update you where I'm at.
Do you think you'll finish it?
I'm hoping to at least get to level 60. That's like my next goal, is to get to level 60. And then once I get to level 60, I've then got to decide whether I want to get to level 80 or not. I just got to make that choice. It depends where I'm at, because I think by that point, Wonderlands will hopefully have been out. So I'll be busy with that. Yeah, I think I'll have to play it when I know I'm going to be not busy with other games. And I mean, given what we're going to get over the next 2 or 3 years, I think I'm going to be pretty not busy. There's a lot to play. I've still got to play Mars Morales. I've still got to do lots of stuff.
Yeah, same.
Still a bunch of stuff I've got to play. So.
All right, Jay. Should we move on to the news?
Yes.
Should we start with yours, Jay?
Sure.
They're very figure based. So
yeah, that's all I kind of like had. But these aren't going to be very long. These are going to be very quick. Like, this is what it is. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say I haven't actually written anything extra apart from the
don't really need to.
because
yeah.
You
can just say it, and then I'll just sort of give my opinion on it. Basically.
Yeah. So Resident Evil Village, Capcom announced a press release, as reported on by IGN, have sold 5 million copies, or has sold 5 million copies.
Yeah, which I think is actually more than what every other Resident Evil has sold in the given time since its release. Yes. I know Resident Evil 7 only currently has 10 million copies sold, and that's been out for what, since 2017, 2018?
Yeah, 17 sounds right.
So it's been out 4 years, and it has double the amount of what this game has in 5 months. This game came out 5 months ago. And I want to say a lot of that is the popularity surrounding Lady Demetress. Demetress, is that her name?
Demetrius?
No, it's Demetress. It's like a Romanian name. So you got to pronounce it in a certain way. Because everyone was saying Demetrescu, I think, because that's how it's spelled. But Demetress is like the proper way. I don't know. Whatever, it's however you want. But yeah, I think a lot of that was like the sort of popularity with that character. A lot of people saw that and went, "Oh, I actually probably wouldn't mind playing this game now." And I think when it came out, like, it was streamed. Like, a lot of people were streaming and watching it on Twitch. So I want to say close to 100k people were watching it. When it first came out, like, it was popular for like a good 2 weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks. Even after when it came out, and even before it came out, people were like looking forward to it for a while. So, yeah, I think the popularity around Resident Evil is just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, they're releasing a new movie with Effie as playing Claire. Do you get the reference, Effie? You know who Effie is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the actress who plays Effie is playing Claire in the new Resident Evil movie. Welcome to Raccoon City, I think it's called. It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, good lord!
It doesn't look very good, but yeah.
I just conked. I was like, I just realised how many Resident Evil films there are.
There's well over 10, isn't there?
Yeah, something like that.
So many. But yeah, I think Resident Evil's sort of gotten a lot more popularity since 7. I think since they've sort of rebooted the series, 7 has sort of become like the new sort of reboot for the series. I think so. I think it's just sort of become a bit more accessible, a bit more in the mainstream, but for the better, I'd say. And I'm glad it's doing well. I like it when horror games do well. It just also means that Capcom's got more of a reason to make games like this now. Like, these Resident Evil games are quality games, especially Resident Evil 8 and 7. Like, they're very, very good quality games. Very well made. The lore behind it is insane. Like, you can just tell like how much influence from like really well researched things have gone into it. And the story is always good. The story is never bad in Resident Evil, apart from like maybe some of the previous ones. But in the last 2, at least, this is almost like the AC level of like errors of Resident Evil. I like the current era of Resident Evil. It's doing well, and I'm glad to see it do well. So that's where I'm at with that.
That was reported by Jared Moore at IGN.
Mm.
I'm not ignoring you, by the way, Jay. I just don't want to override what you said.
No, you're good.
So. Next up, Sony has now sold 13.4 million PlayStation 5 consoles, as reported by IGN's Matt Purslow, and they did that in their financial results for Q2. Jay?
Yeah, so this is 13.4 since release, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think the number was, I think they sold either 3.2 or 3.3 in the last quarter.
3.3.
Yeah, which is kind of insane. Because I still think, like, even though we've had shortages, I want to say over Christmas they're supposed to be bringing out a lot more, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2022 they are supposed to start to ramp it up at least.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing some more stuff online about, oh look, PS5s are going to be coming back, so don't worry about it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I assume most of the really, 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 really hardcore fans have got one now. I assume, but
yeah. So PS5 is outselling PS4.
Yeah. Well, we knew that.
Not by much, but still, good amount.
Again, it wonders how much it would be if they could supply them.
Probably a hell of a lot more. Yeah, I mean they're outselling the PS4 with restrictions, so it's kind of like
Right.
where would they be exactly without the restriction?
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of insane. So yeah, it's good. Good to see the numbers. Good to see what's going on. Hopefully people who have wanted one for a long time can finally get theirs over the next couple of months for Christmas. I'm sure.
I just said, Jay, like I'd be shocked if someone who needs one hasn't got one yet.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people who would have wanted one still haven't got one.
Really?
Yeah, I still think a lot. I mean, I'm still seeing a lot of like content creators who still haven't got them, and who only just recently got them.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of like smaller like small to mid-sized YouTubers who have only just recently got them, and they're like, I can finally go back and play these games now. Kind of insane. That's where we're at.
We were there, and we can relate. We can relate. As I slop my slipper down on the floor, we can relate. Jay, I've got a few interesting stories this week.
Please do.
That I want to share with you. First up, Eidos Montreal, which is the studio behind a very recently published game that we will keep nameless, announced via Twitter probably a couple of weeks ago, because this news is for the last 2 weeks really, that they're going to a 4-day work week. Now I want to raise this for 2 reasons. One, anytime a company moves to a 4-day work week, I want to highlight it because I want a 4-day work week.
Yeah, that would be good.
Secondly,
that means less money though.
What? Same money. That's the whole point of a 4-day work week. Same money, but 4 days.
Oh, I see. You say you get paid the same, but you get paid more each day, essentially.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. Okay, I get you.
But I was also interested, Jay, in this because I was wondering, in a time in the gaming world where games take longer, games are being more expensive to make.
This is good. I think I just clocked on partly to what you're saying.
Like, how is that going to impact the game, right? Like, we're getting broken games anyway. So
you're going to have employees who are more well rested.
Yeah.
You're going to have games take longer to make, which means hopefully better research and actually better game development and game production.
Yeah.
Obviously, the same amount of money is going to be spent, so who cares anyway?
Well, arguably the game doesn't take longer to make, because I think people would argue they're more efficient when they are, or productive when they are at work.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe.
But go on.
I don't know. I think this could be good. I'm kind of hoping that the game industry has a bit of a switch soon, because you can only have a game industry that develops games that aren't finished for so long before the audience, the consumer, gets a bit fed up. They just not buy games. I think we're gonna probably see a bit of a pendulum swing, or a bit of a ultimatum at some point. We're gonna see some sort of like shift in audiences sort of catching on to the fact that games aren't coming out finished when they actually should be finished, and when they're released, they're just not coming out finished anymore. And we're sort of having to wait. We have to buy the game early. We're basically buying every game in early access at this point, or like alpha or beta. And then they seem to be like slowly fixed over time. I think a lot of it is due to COVID. It's due to like crunches and stuff, and having to get things done in a certain amount of time. I think it also might be the fat cats, as it were. The heads of these boards who are like investors essentially, who have put money into a game, and they maybe have a contract that says, right, we need to return on this in 3 years. And when in reality, if they needed to make a good enough quality game, it would take minimum 4. So they're having to... Basically, the quality of games is going down primarily because of investors, I'd say. It's people who want their money sooner rather than later. Because they know... a part of that is, I guess, market research, and knowing that in 4 years' time, that kind of game might not be to the interest of the consumer anymore. Like, in the market, a type of genre of game might only last a certain amount of time. Like PUBG and Fortnite, people needed to have a pretty quick turnaround on games that were going to be similar to that if they were going to make any money out of it, because there was soon to be competition. There can't be a monopoly in any sort of industry like that, so people have to make competition, which I think is healthy. but having that quick of a turnaround because of like trends, I guess. I think the gaming industry has almost become a bit of a trend lane, a bit of a trend world, and that sort of destroys the art a little bit. It kind of becomes a bit too mainstream, a bit too mediocre. And I think if we're going to see any change, I think this might be the first step in that, maybe. Hopefully, but it could have the complete opposite effect. It could mean that people are more lazy in their working, and they actually might. No, they could get pushed. They could get pushed too hard because they're not working enough days. They've got that less of a day, which means that things are expected sooner anyway. Like it could be a complete disaster. It could be the first step in what we need to see out of better art and better quality games. But have to wait and see on that one. Honestly.
A couple of points on that.
Yeah, go on.
Firstly, you just don't see it in other mediums, or you don't see it as obvious. I say it all the time, but like books aren't missing pages and movies aren't missing scenes. I know it's a different situation.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from, totally.
Secondly, I don't actually think they're necessarily coming out broken products. I do think they're coming out with a lack of content.
Yes, it's a mixture of stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
There's this drive of, like, here's some really good content, but you've got to play it 50 times. And the older I get and the more games I've played, Jay, I've just come to terms with the fact that I'm not a Destiny player. I'm not a Rocket League player. I mean, I like Rocket League a lot.
You're not a Destiny? What do you mean? Destiny is, like, perfect. To a degree.
You can't play the same game over and over and over, like same missions.
Over and over. I mean, that's basically what MMOs are.
It's not exactly. It's not how I'm built. And actually, I had this revelation in the last 48 hours. I was like, okay, so why is every game trying to make it that you only play that game, right? And I'm like, okay, well, let's have a think about it, Nick. When in your gaming career did you play one game for like 1 or 2 years? Oh yeah, Call of Duty when you were like 12 years old. Pokemon. And then it's like, okay, so you're trying to tap into that market with like young gamers
nostalgia
who are only playing like one game. Because let's be frank, hardly anyone else has the time to commit to one game like that. And if you do, I just feel a bit sad.
There has to be a good reason.
You're missing out on so many games.
Yeah.
But anyway. So that was my points on it. But like you say, Jay, we'll see how it goes, I guess. The 4-day work week.
Yeah. Is it just that company then? There's no other company talked about it?
I think there have been a couple of other developers, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Sure. We'll have to keep an eye on those guys then and see if they actually make any difference on their next project.
Defo.
Whether it comes out a bit more polished.
Or even patches and things for the current game, you know what I mean? Like, will they be delayed and stuff?
Yeah, that's true.
Quick update from...
Oh, I just read... Was Eidos Montreal Avengers, or that was Crystal Dynamics?
Yeah, no, that was Crystal Dynamics. Eidos Montreal did Deus Ex, the new ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was getting confused. Okay.
That's right.
Yep.
Both Square...
both Square Enix.
I think they're both owned by Square Enix. Maybe? I don't know.
I know Square Enix did the publishing for Avengers.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Actually, they did do Deus Ex. You're right, they did do Deus Ex. That's why I'm getting confused, because of the Square Enix. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
So we've got an update from Software via Twitter. Elden Ring has been delayed a month to February 25th.
This is a good thing. Massively a good thing.
As the depth and strategic freedom of the game exceeded initial expectations. Thank you for your trust and patience. We look forward to seeing you experience the game in the closed network test in November. And the Elden Ring team.
Yeah.
I just want to raise this, Jay, because they remind me of Rockstar in the sense that they let the game speak for themselves. They're just like, look, it needs a bit more polish. It'll be out in a month later.
I don't think a month is actually enough, if you ask me.
Well, it seems like they've got their stuff together, because I thought every game's getting delayed longer than that. So clearly they are very close to launch.
Whenever I see a short delay like that, it always worries me. At least it does. It worries me a little, at least. It kind of makes me think, oh, they found something, and or maybe they're just not at the right. Maybe they're slightly behind, or whatever it might be. But it kind of makes me worry. Like maybe the game isn't. That's as much as they could get from the investors, you know.
Right.
Like whenever I see a delay, if it's like months, I'm like, oh, good, okay, clearly it needed it, you know. But when it's like just a 1 month or a couple of days or a week, I'm like, oh, did it need that much or did it need more? And that's all I could get, you know. Because I think Elden Ring, people have been waiting for this game for a long, well, not a long time, but I think it's been like 4 or 5 years.
They've been waiting. They've been waiting a while.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we waited well over a decade for Cyber, and it still turned out the same. But
correct.
Hard to say. Hard to say. But yeah, no, I don't actually know how bothered I am about Elden Ring, which is strange because I love Dark Souls and Bloodborne, so I haven't really thought about Elden Ring much.
Well, you didn't play Sekiro, did you?
Yeah, I played Sekiro.
Oh.
Haven't finished it, but I've gotten a decent amount of the way through.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, I think I actually need to go back and play Sekiro properly before I think about Elden Ring, probably. So I think Elden Ring will be one of those ones I come back to.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll let it sit for a bit. I'm going to pay full price.
For those who are excited for it, and I do actually. I think from the nature of the game, I think it seems to have more hype behind it. It seems like a bit more of a Dark Souls 4, but
yeah, I'm looking forward to the speed runs. That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right, so last up on the fake gaming news, Jay. GTA, the definitive edition was revealed. It was trailered. It was exactly what I said it was. It was not a remaster, but it wasn't a remake. It was somewhere in between. And I am super happy it's coming out because I have not played through these games to finish. They are far too old to play. Yeah. Jay, dreams still come true. This is a great thing for Nick.
Well, I mean, you're going to be paying a lot of money, like full price for all three.
Nah, it's 50 quid for the whole thing, mate.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. Like, still,
oh, right, sure, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's, that's not too bad for 3 old games.
Yeah, I guess it depends how much time they put into actually remastering these things, you know.
As you mentioned earlier, Jay, the lighting looks great, the reflections look great, the graphics looks much improved. The only thing I think that has changed is the kind of cartoony look. Yeah,
I think that's the biggest gripe I've seen of other people's opinions online. Is it just looks like a cartoony game now, and I don't think they can complain that much. I don't think like just be happy that it even looks remotely anything much better than it. You know, anything slightly better than it used to. You know.
Definitely, and
the comparison is kind of insane, actually.
Like,
yeah.
Rockstar don't do that many remasters.
Rockstar don't release a lot of games anyway, you know.
That's true. That's true.
Like they're the kind of game like Rockstar is sort of the game developer equivalent of a YouTuber who knows they're guaranteed to get millions of views on a video, so they release one every 3 months. You know. Like they're guaranteed to get so many tens of millions of views. They just release one every couple. Like Rockstar are the same. They know they're going to make billions on a game, so they take their time. Like, that's what I like about Rockstar. They take their time. They make good games. They know how to do it. They've been doing it a long time.
Are you interested in this at all, John?
I'll wait and see. I'll watch other people play it for a little while, maybe a couple hours, and then I'll be like, I definitely don't see this in my schedule. It's not in my schedule. It's not in my budget. It's not on my schedule.
Man, you sounded so professional. It's like it's not.
Well,
in my schedule.
It's not like the things that are currently in my schedule is I guess Mars Morales is in there, and Wonderlands is in there.
Have you got Halo in there?
No.
Okay.
And it's not even like I'm not trying to. It's not even for lack of wanting to play it. It's just that I'm not really I just don't think about Halo. That's just not in my wheelhouse at the minute, you know.
No, that's fair enough. I'm getting this day one, Jay. That's how excited I am for.
What, the GTA thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I might have to sort of see what you say about it then. I'll let you buy it.
Well, San Andreas is actually coming to Game Pass.
What, the remastered one?
Yeah, the definitive edition one, yeah.
Well, I'll play that 100%. If it's on Game Pass, I'll play it.
There you go.
I'm not paying more than £11 a month to play a game like that.
Yeah, I think I said this to you before, Jay, but I'm just really excited because these games might be the last games that I feel like I need to play from the from
From
old
bygone
games,
eras, yeah.
Correct. And like I say, I'm not playing the originals, so for me, I am the target audience here.
I still think GTA 4 holds up quite well.
You'd be surprised, sir.
Especially the
You
DLC.
would be surprised. I finished Gave Ballad Tony a few years ago. I thought it was very, very fun.
It is really good.
I played GTA 4 for the first time, Jay, and I didn't realise it was Taxi Simulator.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my god, the
Very
first
dull.
7 missions, you just drive. It is so dull.
I liked it. It filled some sort of hole, some sort of void.
Some sort of void.
It did its job for whatever it was for.
Jay, quick interlude. Just wanted to quickly shout out the Halo hype that's going around.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more talks actually. People are talking about it. The chatter, There's rumblings in the gaming universe right now.
Correct. The women's are whispering. You know what I mean?
The oracles have spoken. You mean?
Sorry.
The oracles.
Yes.
In Greek mythology, the oracles are three women. I think they're all blind too, but I don't know.
What are we referencing?
Greek mythology.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think so.
So the flight beta thing came out, and people were like, "Oh, this multiplayer is fun," and I never played it, and I was like, "Ah, cool, all right." And then the next one came out, and people were like, "This is really good." Like, not just like, "Oh, good for 343." Like, this is really good. And then the campaign trailer came out on the 20th anniversary Xbox stream thing. So this is a new look at the campaign. We got a story trailer at E3. This is showing us the gameplay, the structure, and they showed us that guy, I think, that got memed or whatever. Oh, well, not.
I haven't seen any of this yet. I'm gonna have to look this up later. Yeah. He got memed to high heaven.
Oh my god!
I still see memes of that around. It's insane.
And it's about 6 minutes long, dude. It's a long trailer.
Yeah, I haven't seen this. I'll check it out later.
And basically, I liked it. I was just like, oh, I just want to play it now, kind of thing. Like, that was my main takeaway. Okay. But dude, the stuff I've been seeing online, people are like, oh my god, I can't wait to play this. It's got like millions of views, and I know you're like, oh, that sounds like whatever, but like, you have to understand that Halo 5 is the low point of the series. So for any traction for Halo in a universe where Fortnite rules and Apex Legends rules, and we've got left, right, center. If there's a place in the universe for Halo to exist, like it makes its mark, like, that's fantastic.
To me, Halo is sort of like the old, like, it's sort of like the old head first-person shooter, right? It's sort of like our generation of first-person shooter, like. Even people who are in their like 30s or 40s, like, Halo is like their first-person shooter. So I think Halo sort of needs to come in now for the slightly younger audience, and needs to make a bit of an entrance if it's actually going to do well. Because like you say, the sort of recent Halos haven't been great. So we'll have to see if it's evolved and progressed in a good way or not. Because isn't the multiplayer supposed to be free to play?
Yeah.
I might play that. If you want to play that, I'll play that.
Awesome.
You have to let me know, but yes.
Halo's
I'll give it a go.
Multiplayers, which I don't know about the newer Halos, but the original Halos, like, I just clicked with a little bit. You know what I mean?
There was a lot of good competition and rivalry back in those days. But I feel like now, like, since COD has sort of evolved and become what it has, Halo multiplayer just seems so much simpler and boring in comparison. I'm sure there's been a lot of evolution there, but I don't really follow Halo that much, so I don't really know what's happened.
Well, they've gone back to basics. Like, they've basically just improved on the formula which made them successful in the first place, it seems, and it's working. So that's great.
I'll have to see how that turns out. Yeah, we
will. There is a grapple hook. Jay, let's wrap up the show. We've got a couple of games to play.
Yeah.
So Jay, let's do Guess Who's review first. So I believe it's your turn.
Yeah, so is it me who has to say it to you, or you say it to me?
I believe you've got to say it to me.
Okay.
Do you have
I might just double check. Alright, I'm going to have to read this off my phone because I can't read it from my laptop.
Okay, for the uninitiated, we're just going to play a couple of games to finish off the show. We like video games, so we like playing games on the show, naturally. This one is called Guess Who's Review, whereby we each pick a game to say to the other each week. We will pick 3 quotes from a random game review of the game, and then they've got to guess the game based on the quotes.
I really hope we haven't done this one. Because I know I haven't, but I can't remember if you've done it to me already, so I'm going to be bummed if we have. But I think we have, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay. 3 points for getting the first quote, 2 points for the second, 1 point for the third.
I actually have 4, and I have to decide which ones to actually do in the right order. Because this one was really hard for me to find like good ones without actually using the name of either the character or the game, so it made it really difficult.
And go.
Okay, let's have a think. Are you ready for starters?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Okay, well, yeah, we'll start with this. Okay. Exploration is limited to small areas around the linear path forward, and aside from the radios and televisions, there are a wealth of collectibles to pick up and hidden ammunition and weapons to uncover. I tried to make this vague, but there's definitely enough in there for you to know. If you are a massive fan of this game, you'll know it just from that. Or if at least you're more of a... If you've played it fairly recently, you'll probably know a lot more too. But
can you repeat the quote, please?
Okay. I'm going to be annoyed if you get this. Exploration is limited to small areas around the linear path forward, and aside from the radios and televisions, there are a wealth of collectibles to pick up and hidden ammunition and weapons to uncover. This is very, very hard, I will say. Just from that, unless like the thing that should give it away is in there, but I'm not going to say what it is.
So
there's one thing in there that gives it away.
I know this game. Okay. Is that quote saying that TVs and radios are collectibles?
I don't know. Maybe.
I know this game.
Yeah, I know you know it too. That's why we agreed that we'd only do games that we thought the other person had played.
What's the linear? The exploration bit is throwing me off, basically.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot in there that can throw you off. But there's also 1 or 2 things that makes you go, oh, okay, that definitely has to be this game.
TVs and radios. What the?
Initially, it kind of makes me think of one game thing in particular, but I don't know if that actually has to do with it. I'm not sure. I know what this would make me think of. It wouldn't make me think of this game. It made me think of a different one, which is why I'm hoping you'll guess the one I'm thinking of, not this one.
I know it's not this.
Okay, go for your guess, and then we'll move on to the next if it's wrong. I'm gonna be so pissed if you get this.
It's not.
Please don't tell me I did this too easy.
I'm gonna say Gears of War.
No. Tell me why you went for that guess, though. I'm curious.
There's areas where you can, go off to the side, and I think there's a fair amount of radios in it.
And televisions?
Jay, I'm struggling, okay?
Okay. Are you ready then? Oh, God.
That's a pretty loose quote, Jay. That is a loose quote.
I'll do this one next, and then the last one is very, very obvious, so we'll see if you get it.
Okay, alright.
At times, you can take advantage of other light sources. A flare gun acts like a grenade launcher by detonating in a brilliant bang, disintegrating enemies in range.
Okay, I think I know this game.
Yeah, you should, if I said easy the other two, you would have got it straight away. So.
Are you sure I've played this game?
I hope you have. You've definitely played a game that's to do with it.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay,
that might have been too much of a hint, honestly.
Is it Alan Wake?
It is Alan Wake. Congratulations. Wow, well done. Yeah, I think that might have been too much of a hint, but I'll let you have it.
No, I don't think. No, I think you're being a bit too hard on yourself there. There's loads of games where you shoot stuff in the dark and like it,
Yeah, but this one is the whole mechanic is that it has to be with the light and everything.
Well, actually, Jay, you got pretty lucky there because I've played Alan Wake for 10 minutes.
Oh, well, there you go. At least you had. So. Yeah, the other quotes I kind of want to say, just in case, I want to see if you would have gotten it from this. Okay. His wife goes missing, and his search to find her is swiftly diverted into the realm of the paranormal, forcing him to pick up a gun and pull the trigger to stay alive. Yeah, would that have been too vague? Would you have got it from that, Drink?
No, I would have got that. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other one, I had another one just in case. The protagonist isn't initially an action hero. He's a popular fiction writer attempting to escape the pressures of fame and creative expectation.
Probably would have got it.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to put obvious at the end and then hard at the beginning. So, right, I'll update the score. You got 2 points on that one. So you're now officially ahead by 1 point.
He's not very happy about
Congrats.
that.
No, it's fine.
Jay, can you please switch to the one where I'm showing my screen?
There we go. Oh, I've got it already, but yeah, continue.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Okay,
well, actually, it could be one or the other. If I had to guess, it'd probably be the other.
I've made up
but
a new name for this game.
You
Jay.
can't. You have to give me a little bit of leeway on this one because it looks similar to both of them.
This game is now called Pixel Perfect.
Oh, I like that. That's really smart.
Thank you.
That's really smart. You need to make a background for that.
This is a visual game,
Or
but we'll try and make
something.
it as audio as possible. So L, my brother, has pixelated some game covers for Jay to guess. FYI, I got these straight away. So
well,
no
this
pressure.
one you definitely did because this is like.
So Jay,
whenever I think of this game, I think of you, like in this straight away.
Oh mate, I think of you when I think of this game.
That's such a strange thing, then, isn't it? Right. Well, it's
so
either the first one or the second one. I'd probably, if I had to bet my life on it, it'd probably be the second one. But
what does it look like to you?
It's Fable.
Fable. Which one?
1 or 2, probably 2. But I mean, it might be the first one because I think the reflection.
Answer.
I'm gonna go with Fable 1. Fine.
Oh, can you still see it?
I can see just the pixels.
No, sorry. Yeah, I've just clicked on my other screen. It's saying it's paused, but it sounds like it's still going.
It's loading. It looks like. I don't know. I can't see. Oh, it's still the same picture. Oh, Fable 2. Great. I got it right. I knew it was one or the other. Back at me, dude.
Dude, you know that. You knew that.
I did. I knew it instantly. But it was the first one has a lot of red on it.
I've got to be honest, Jay. That cover
it's iconic.
Might be the most resonating game cover for me ever.
It's so iconic. Like it's that image is burned into my brain. It really is.
Like the importance of that game for us, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
Oh,
it is kind of insane.
Love it. Okay,
kind of interested to see what they do with the next one. Honestly, I kind of hope they go back to basics.
Oh, it's a big game. It's a big game.
Yeah, I hope they make it like really fantastical.
Me too. I'm British. Right, I'm
super
hoping this
British.
works. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I know what this is.
Oh,
I do know what this is.
What does it look like, Jay?
At least, what? Do you want me to give you the answer or no?
Oh,
okay, you want me to like explain what I'm seeing and then I can give you the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please. Yeah,
so on the left and right,
listeners.
You've sort of got like buildings going left and right. You've probably got cars in the bottom, and then I'd say you've got a title of what the game is, and then like a sunset in the middle. So the whole thing is sort of illuminated by like a sunset.
Good explanation.
Yeah.
Color scheme.
Orange, red, brown, sort of autumn time sort of color scheme, I'd say. But if you only described it by that, you'd be giving off the wrong impression of what the game is. So.
Okay, and the game is, Jay?
It is Saints Row.
Oh,
I think.
Smashing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
it's so strange that I knew that. Look, you can even see the buildings on the side, the sunset down the middle, the cars at the front. Like I literally described it to the T.
Dude, talk about a game cover. That
I don't think I actually owned that game on physical. I think I only had it digital, maybe. I don't know if I even owned it. I think I played it around someone else's house.
Look, these are guns.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they're guns on the side. Yeah, the buildings are like got guns. This thing. It's actually quite fitting that you've done that because obviously they're rebooting Saints Row, but they're rebooting it with a very. It's gonna hopefully that game tanks massively. I really want the new Saints Row to not do well, and I think you and I both know why.
This cover does not age well.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a really bad sort of rap video from the early 2000s. Like a really bad one. Like a really cheap, nasty one.
Oh.
Yeah, like
okay.
Exactly.
Last one. Elle was like, right, before I show you this, Elle was like, I don't know if Jay's gonna get these, and I got them straight away.
Dude, anyway. You've literally given me 2 games that were from like the 360 era that I played endlessly. So yeah.
Yes.
Kind of
Yes.
like if you give me like a really obscure. Oh god. Oh, I know what this is. This is easy. Jesus Christ. Come on. What is
I'm
this
having words
easy?
now. I'm
I'm
having
gonna
words.
quote. I forgot the name of the character from Overwatch. But is this easy mode? Like, come on, dude.
Okay, what does it look like?
Okay, I'll
What are the
describe
pixels?
it. So you almost have like a two blue triangles sort of coming to a point at the
Yeah,
bottom, which is either like a
yeah.
sky or like a sea, maybe. You've then
And they're going to the
got
middle, aren't they? From
yeah,
bottom
they're
to
all sort of
middle.
coming to a point in the middle, and then you've almost got what looks like a cross, like a black cross going in the middle with like a white line running through it, and then what looks like skin color, sort of in blotches in like 4 different areas above the triangles, but in each of the quadrants of the cross. That's what it looks
I
like.
mean, Jay, you should get paid for this. This,
I mean,
this is
dude,
unbelievable. Okay, and what is the game,
it
Jay?
is Crackdown 1.
Of course, it's
Jesus Christ.
Crackdown.
I kind of want you to give me some like really hard ones soon.
Dude, you
Just to,
did not
because I
find
feel
those.
like
Oh, look, Els left the thing on the bottom. Yeah, go
last
on.
week they were hard enough for me to like have to really think about it, and I don't think I even one like the GTA one took me forever to get, and I don't think I actually got it. I think you had to like tell me. So
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, I will pick some
I'm
hard
glad
ones
I
for
got
you.
some easy ones though. That was still fun because
I
it
think
kind
the
of made me
color
think, oh, I
scheme
know
helps a
this.
lot. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think I've looked at that longer than a lot of other front covers of games. I think if you gave me ones of games that are in eras that had games that were more physical copies, I think a lot of the newer games are all fairly digital, so you don't tend to look at the covers as long as you would do at games that had been physical because you see them a lot of the time.
Definitely.
Digital ones tend to have art that changes around,
100%.
whereas these are a little bit more iconic. Like I think of like the 360, the PS2, era as almost like the vintage movie poster era, where like you just get a movie poster and you know what movie it is instantly. Whereas now, like the Xbox One, the late Xbox One, and the early new generation is sort of almost like the current movie poster era, where you look at a movie poster and go, I have no idea what movie this is for.
Mm.
Like it kind of makes you think this isn't iconic. I don't really understand what like the nostalgia hasn't kicked in yet. Like there's no what's
History?
like yeah like the word iconic, is that like a short form version of that? I want to say like iconic-y, but that doesn't sound right.
Well, I think iconic is actually long form of icon.
Well, I guess so. Yeah. There we go.
You know what I mean?
It's not recognizable. I think it's probably the word I was looking for.
I also think, Jay, that this comes from a period where, yes, we bought everything physically, even though actually there
To a
was digital
degree,
back then.
I had a lot of digital
And
stuff on 360 actually, surprisingly.
yeah, yeah, innit?
Yeah.
But also, I remember this cover
Hinter.
specifically because I got the game
Yeah,
and
I
then
still have it.
had to go to my nan's, so like you would just look through the instruction booklet for 2 hours
Yeah, exactly.
basically,
You just
you know
had
what
to
I mean?
like, make do.
Right,
You know,
right.
sort of be content with what you had. So you kind of have to like
Exactly that.
cherish things a bit more and take it all in a bit more. We live in a very fast-paced gaming thing in the minute, which is why I like to take it slow in some degrees. Some
Sometimes.
iterations, some whatevers.
Well, Jay, we've come to the end of the show once more.
We have. I'm actually
Just
looking
like
forward to
that.
next week's already.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do an extra little thing or something if you're
We'll see.
hungry for it.
We'll see.
Jay, I want to finish with a quote which I have been thinking about quite a lot, which is "Nothing ventured, nothing gained."
Yeah,
Now I looked it up,
I
and
understand
apparently
this.
it's a French proverb from the 1300s,
Yes.
which comes from "He who never undertook anything never achieved anything."
Basically, don't do, don't get.
I, I do think that is true though.
Yeah. You got to
Yeah,
be in it to win it, right?
yeah.
But if I'm boiling it down, to its most basic form.
But I'm not sure you live by it, Jay, because when we first started this
No,
podcast,
it's weird. I actually like, I do think about that a lot. Like, it comes up a lot in my head of like, I tend to just my life. I sort of like lead my life by being too cautious about a lot of things. because I know that if I don't do something, that means that the thing I'm worried about won't happen. So I'm sort of like, I like the guarantee of something either happening or not happening. I don't like the uncertainty of things. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's not nice. So yes, when I first started this podcast, what? Continue.
I was just gonna say, when you first started, I think we had the conversation of like, oh yeah, let's do a podcast, and I was like, oh, why don't you do this? And you're like, what's the point? There's already like 100 podcasts which are really really good.
Yeah.
But then I was like, yeah, but in that, if we all took that up, then there would no longer be any new musical artists. There'd no longer be.
There'd be no necessarily not as much media as there is. Yeah, we'll go with that.
There'd be no us, Jay. By the way,
well,
we're nearly in the top 100 gaming podcasts on iTunes, apparently.
I don't agree with you.
I mean, I got sent a spam email that said otherwise, so I don't know why we should question it.
All right, I believe you. Sounds legit.
I will keep you up to date though on the stuff. But
sure.
Thank you for your time, Jay, and your energy.
Yeah.
I again apologise for being late.
All good.
I hope it was a good show.
I
felt
enjoyed
like it was okay.
I enjoyed it.
Good. I look forward to next week's.
I really
think.
Jay.
Oh yeah, no, next week's is going to be really good. Actually,
yeah, I want you to question me
most weeks,
a lot.
I will. Oh, I will. I will. I'm looking forward to pretty much every week to Christmas now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Gaming.
Okay. All right, boss. We will see you all later. Have a good weekend. And I will say, treat yourself.
Sure.
Treat yourself. Mainly because it's Halloween. Spooky.
Or trick yourself.
Right, I'm definitely 180. I'm definitely 180 on the scales. 185.
Check yourself until you wreck yourself.
Trick yourself.
Mm.
Alright, see you later, guys. Bye.